The Holy Gospel according to John, the first chapter.
Praise to you.
We are Lutherans, right? Okay. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
En el principio era el Verbo, y el Verbo era con Dios, y el Verbo era Dios.
He was in the beginning with God.
Este era en el principio con Dios.
All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being,
Todas las cosas por él fueron hechas, y sin él nada de lo que ha sido hecho fue hecho.
in him was life, and the life was the light of all people.
En él estaba la vida, y la vida era la luz de los hombres.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it.
La luz en las tinieblas resplandece, y las tinieblas no prevalecieron contra ella. El Evangelio del Señor.
Praise to you, O Christ. You may be seated. Exactly 2 years ago, my family and I moved to the mountains of western North Carolina. And I've got to be honest, I did not have hurricane on my bingo card anywhere. Yesterday, I spoke with the pastor of my home congregation, St. Luke in Florence, and they had just recently on their God's Work Our Hands Sunday packed hurricane buckets. 20 of them. They're now packing 20 more and sending them to us here in Hendersonville to pass out to our neighbors in need. When we talked yesterday, I said, I bet when y'all packed these, y'all weren't expecting to send them to the mountains. But here we are. We have been through a great difficulty here in our community. Here in Hendersonville and Fletcher and Arden, Asheville, Black Mountain, Swannanoa, Lake Lure, Chimney Rock. Some of us have suffered only inconvenience. That's true for my family and I. Our flooding was very minimal. Our trees were tiny and fell away from the house. We had plenty of food. We kept water. We just saved on the power bill. Others of us, though, have suffered immensely. We've seen images of whole communities being swept away. We have stories of loved ones who are no longer with us. It will take months and months to return to what felt like normal before, and in a lot of ways, we're not going to go back to normal. Each of us, in our own way, have suffered and found difficulty this past week. Has anybody given themselves a chance for a good old-fashioned cry? Anybody? Yeah? Anybody get down in the dumps at some point this week? Oh, yeah. Anybody have a fight with someone you love just because that's the only way you could get something out? It has been difficult for all of us in our own unique ways. As I was telling the kids earlier, it struck me especially at night just how dark it truly can get. Isn't it amazing? We're so used to light, and then it's just completely enshrouded in darkness. On top of the darkness, we also didn't have our dear beloved best friend, our cell phone. Anybody just stare at it? Just hope that it's going to work, maybe? maybe this time when I open Instagram, it will actually work. But in all seriousness, there's this profound sense of aloneness when the world around you is dark and you can't even make a connection with someone else. For me, it was one of the more profound senses of aloneness that I have experienced in, I think, my entire life. You can't script this stuff. Is it Jesus? I think we all needed that laugh, right? No, but again, like I told the kids, the little flashlight that I kept with me was a reminder that no matter how dark it gets in the world, no matter how alone we might feel, the light of God is always there with us. That little flashlight is but one little point of light, reminding me that I'm not alone, reminding you that you're not alone. I like this. But then there are so many points of light that we experienced this week. For me, a constant point of light reminding me that God is at work in our community is the sound of the Chinook helicopters, with which we are all very familiar now, right? Yes. Let me tell you, I'm going to buy a beverage for those pilots when it's done, because they've worked really hard. But beyond the Chinook helicopters flying in supplies and flying out rescued people, you see first responders, ambulances, and police officers, lights going to go take care of someone in need. You see the light of linemen that have come from all over to help reconnect our power lines and reconnect us. There's the light of neighbors working at community food distribution centers, helping to make sure people have enough to eat. One thing that amazed me as I called around to a number of you this week, inquiring how you were, you said, "We're fine, but I have a whole house generator. People can come over here and take a shower. I have an extra room. I have food. I have this. I have that." Time and again, neighbors are willing to reach out and take care of one another. And there in that midst, we see the light of Christ shining in the darkness so that the darkness does not overcome it. So I hope now, as you have a moment to cry, to laugh, to pray, and to reflect, I hope you are able to see those points of light from God shining in your life this past week. And I hope as we go out from this place, you gather up that light and you shine it on your neighbors in need this week. You may realize that before this hurricane, we were on stewardship time. We're going to pause that. I'm not going to ask for your money today. But one of the things that we've been inviting you to reflect on is, what do you have? And so what is it that you have? Maybe now you have power. Maybe now you have a little extra food. Maybe you have some extra cash, whatever it might be. But what is it that you have that's the light from God that you can shine on others in our community who feel like they dwell in deep darkness? Be the light for our community. Amen.